Episode, nobody beats the house.
Now I'm in there. All right. So I should have got something to drink before I started the show here. Why don't we take a brief intermission and I'll go grab something to drink.
Борис, ты никогда не проигрывал.
Потому что я пью много водки.
Юрий, нам надо отмыть эти грязные деньги от крови.
Проклятые американцы!
Тепло сегодня для июля.
Юрий, кто эти бабы?
Ирина, это же наши дочери.
Черт, как же давно я пью. Как же вкусно, твою мать.
Россия, матушка.
All right, now we're back. So let's get going. So I just was checking out the comment period over here, and there was 13 comments, and then I hit refresh, and there was 14. There's still only 14 comments. So whenever I seen Jared's video, he was talking about it, I think, and they showed sort of a process to it, and there is my audio coming through. There was showing us a different process to it. And if you go up here into the yellow section, it says, welcome to the new government regulations or whatever. So I remember whenever we were looking at these things a couple of months ago, they were talking about the new section. So we want to drop the link out here for anybody that happens to be watching this now or in the future. We're talking about the ATF's procedure to have a 90-day comment period, and I guess today is the beginning of that comment period. Thanks, appreciate that. So I figured I'd go live and just do a quick chat since I saw that there was only 14 comments, so we're definitely at the beginning. Oh, I guess I was explaining that when I first saw Jared talking about the new process, there's some sort of a tracking system, so you can, once you've posted a comment, you can see the progress of your comment being reviewed and then posted. So let's go over and click on comments. And then, so I guess they're all just comment on, and then the docket number. And this is 1 of 14, so we'll just open them up. 2, if this works, 3, 4, 5, 8, 11, 13, and there we go. All right, so if that worked, I just opened them all in a new tab, so let's check them out. This is the first one. The first one is, this is unpatriotic and shall not be infringed. Literally, this is unpatriotic, period, shall not be infringed. That's the first comment. I don't know, I guess it's apt. So second comment, and these don't seem to be in any way ordered. They just all, they're just in the order that I opened them here. So they're not denoted with any kind of an ID. No, there is a tracking number, but it doesn't. Oh no, look at that. What does that say? Over here, it says ATF 2021-01-10, 12. Look at that, 2021. So you're telling me this is the first 12 comments they've ever got this year? 2021-001-10. So this is the 10th else? Is that what this is telling us? Maybe this is, anyway, who cares? So second one, I guess we can track them now. So we got 12. So a suppressor manufacturer has less parts to mark with a serial number, but I have to somehow put a serial number on rubber washers I use as wipers since they are an expendable item I dispose of. How will that work? So I didn't realize this thing. I should have read the thing first. I'm not going to do that. Other people have, but I'm guessing that's over here in the document details. It looks as though I haven't tried to print it, but it's not little. I'm scrolling past it here. It's certainly dozens of pages at this point. So I haven't read through it. I'm sure some people already have in preparation for this. It looks like you can download a file. Let's download the PDF just to see what it looks like there. And then I'll scroll back up here. We'll go back over to that comment. So they must be talking about suppressors in there too. So that's interesting. So this is comment number 11. That's interesting. Them backwards? No, they're just, I guess it's because of the way that they collect them and review them and then approve them, that they're not going to show up in the order they were submitted, I guess, because this one says it's 11. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. All it does is make it harder for law-abiding citizens to work on their own guns, and the criminals don't care about laws anyway. Very succinct and appropriate. Good comment. Next one is number 17. You don't get to regulate my right to defense. How many times do we have to tell you, fuck off red coats? So is it the legislative's branch? Okay. Isn't it the legislative branch's job to write laws? That is, the answer to that question is yes. So, okay. Next is comment 14. It is absolutely astonishing that the ATF keeps thinking of new ways to violate the Constitution to further restrict legal gun owners and act like felons and other criminals who buy stolen guns on the street who follow these laws. Gotcha. All you are doing is violating our rights and making it harder for us to defend ourselves. Let me read that better now that I understand it. It is absolutely astonishing that the ATF keeps thinking of new ways to violate the Constitution to further restrict legal gun owners and act like felons and other criminals who buy stolen guns off the street will follow these laws. All you are doing is violating our rights and making it harder for us to defend ourselves. Okay, great comment, thanks. Oh, here's an actual longer one. So this one is number 15. Yeah, there's no people's names on them. I can't remember. Were there people's names? There's nobody really listening to this one live today. There's nobody except Tim is saying anything. But I think last time they had people's names, and I wasn't digging that idea. But this time it's just this tracking number, so it's a little more anonymous for this end of it, which is comfortable, I think. Anyway, this next one's a little bit longer. It's actually a pretty good paragraph. This one's number 15. Messing with, now this is actually though, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the 7th public comment, even though it's the 15th comment that looks like the government even got this whole year, or probably the 15th in this situation, but the 7th that they posted. Messing with any part or rules of a firearm is unconstitutional and is infringemental and is against the Constitution and rights, liberties of the people, and therefore nulled. Any change or alteration of a firearm or components or of its stature is infringemental. Any reclassifying or dictionarying or chartering of a firearm is not constitutional. Any entity that tries depriving the citizen he or she's right or amendments is infringement and is nulled by the Constitution and the Second Amendment. There is no loopholes, there is no backdoors or sayings. Because any law or infringement would greatly hurt the people and not the criminal, it would hurt the law-abiding citizen and not the criminal. Therefore, shouldn't exist and is nulled. Registries is illegal, and in any way trying to register things goes against the people's Second, First, and other amendments, as well as the person's safety, and thereby is a huge infringement and impingement on the citizen's life and safeties and liberties. We law-abiding citizens follow the law. Any criminal doesn't follow the law. Stop putting out infringemental legislature that will be struck down by millions and millions of people, and the people who also lawsuit again said bill to bills because it's infringement and a huge violation of our amendments and freedoms. I asked to pull down the bill because if you don't, you are going against the people and their Second Amendment right to bear arms and their freedoms in America, as well as millions upon millions of people that would fight back against this. Sincerely, WJD. So that's interesting. I don't know if that's a language thing or if that's a computer reading to the, what's that called? Translation, what is that called? Text to speech type of thing or what? But I think the point gets across pretty good. I just was bad reading it because I'm like, it's just not normal sentence structure. Let's see. The next one is number 7. So this was the 7th one to be submitted, but the 8th one to be posted. I am totally against this proposal. Since the beginning of our country, citizens have been able to manufacture their own firearms for their own legal uses. There's no evidence that these ghost guns are ever used in criminal activity. This new policy would place an undue burden on This new policy would place an undue burden on millions of gun owners, even the ones who do not assemble their own firearms. The way it is written could be used to potentially place unreasonable restrictions on every part that is commonly in use and accessible to the public, making them nearly unobtainable. This would be a clear violation of our Second Amendment right and would not stand up in court. American citizens are good law-abiding gun owners, and if this rule change goes into effect, it would make criminals of hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of Americans overnight. Please reconsider this egregious infringement. Thank you, Daniel Rodriguez. So I guess some people are signing it with their names. That's cool. So this was the 8th one, with the 7th one submitted. Next, we're going to the 8th one submitted and the 9th one posted. I think, if I got everything straight still. This is another one about a medium-sized paragraph. This is tyranny, plain and simple. The ability to make firearms at home is set in law, and the ATF cannot reinterpret a definition to ban something that is allowed by a duly passed law by the legislature. The ATF is overstepping its limited authority to create undue restrictions on the Second Amendment and the right of the American people to keep and bear arms. The fact that the ATF has to try to justify for multiple pages why a non-firearm is to be considered a firearm is pure insanity and absurd. This is the most flagrant abuse of power by the ATF. This politically motivated rule change has absolutely nothing to do with safety and is clearly a power grab by the ATF to enforce their will on the American people. This is tyranny. If the purpose of this politically motivated stunt is to drum up resentment towards unelected officials in the executive branch, this paragraph, it's the 5th one submitted, and are we on the 10th one? 10th, maybe 9th one posted. So I guess my thing is telling me that the internet's not strong. So let me know if we're having good internet or it'll be windy here. Next one was the 5th one to be submitted, and maybe the 10th one. Oh, now I saw my screen blink. So I don't even know if I'm connected. So give me some feedback if you're. This next one says to keep blinking my screen, so I'm guessing I'm not connected all the time. To the Bureau of the ATF. People have been making their own weapons and ammunition since before the Revolutionary War. The average gun owner in the United States does not have time to stay abreast of the multitude of firearms laws that are currently being created by the government. There are millions of personally made weapons in this country, so your ruling will make criminals out of thousands of gun owners who bought or made weapons before 1968 that do not have serial numbers. You can expect to have a lot of currently made. Oh, hold on. I can't pause this. I gotta go see what this is, though. All right, it was just an A10, but it was booking. It's kind of windy, so they don't usually fly around when it says windy. But he sounded louder because he's so close to the ground. They usually don't run around by themselves, so maybe there's another one going to come. Anyway, so let's see. Looks like I'm connected better. Give me some feedback if we're connected all right. I'll just start this one over again. To the Bureau of the ATF, people have been making their own weapons and ammunition since before the Revolutionary War. The average gun owner in the United States does not have time to stay abreast of the multitude of firearms laws that are currently being created by the government. There are millions of personally made weapons in this country, so your ruling will make criminals out of thousands of gun owners who bought or made weapons before 1968 that do not have serial numbers. You can expect to have a lot of more gun owners in the federal jails strictly because their personal property does not have a serial number on the weapon. Rules currently made by your entity lack clarity. As a general rule, they aren't specific in nature and leaves most gun owners in doubt as to whether they are in compliance with your laws or not, which leaves the majority frustrated and confused as to what accessories and parts they may use on their weapons. All these proposed changes quite probably will wind up in the federal courts as they are basically Second Amendment civil right violations as well. Charles Malcolm. Right on. So I don't know. I guess I'll keep reading their names. They put it in here. But it was the 5th one and the 10th one. I wonder why they would even waste any time to review these. I'm not sure why they're not being posted in the same order that they're reviewed. Maybe I got them backwards. I'll have to do a little checking on that one. We're keep going here. So this one says it's the 4th one submitted. Isn't it the legislative branch to write laws? Wait, I already read that one, so maybe I'm mixed up here. Let's see. Next one is the 16th one. I am currently against changing the definition of frame receiver and increasing identification marking on firearms. We do not need more regulations regarding firearms as these only affect law-abiding citizens and do nothing to decrease criminality in any significant way. Criminals do not follow laws by definition. This would only increase tax burden and regulatory burden. If we want to decrease crime, we should focus on the criminals, not the inanimate objects they may choose to use. Most importantly, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. You know, that included shall not be infringed in such a nice way that I don't think that I would be against using shall not be infringed, right? I mean, it's more than an exclamation point. Sorry, that's commenting, I guess. So next up is one they're calling number 13, and it might be the 13th one to be posted. Is this all? Whatever happened to enforcing the current gun laws? After all this time, you should realize that laws only apply to law-abiding individuals. Criminals don't obey the laws. All this only serves to hurt or hinder the law-abiding citizen, not the illegals you welcomed through our borders. Okay, that's number 13. And then we get number 14, or no, number 6. But the 14th one, maybe? So this proposed rulemaking should not be passed. It seems that the BATFE doesn't really believe in Americans' rights to safety, self-preservation, liberty, and the like. Since even before the Second Amendment was ratified, Americans have been able to construct their own arms. There is no need to redefine terms and definitions as our rights have not changed. Technology, yes, but the preceding amendment to the second applies. As I type this on a cell phone hundreds of miles from BTFE headquarters, the American populace, or at least the law-abiding portion that choose to practice their Second Amendment right, are just that, law-abiding. Stop continually moving the chains so that good people become criminals overnight. Every time a new BATFE ruling, the Bureau is further alienating themselves from everyday citizens. We are not criminals and do not appreciate being consistently being told we are not allowed to exercise our Second Amendment rights. I have the right to self-defense and protection from government overreach. I have these rights and our government says so, I have these rights and our government says so, not because it says so. Wow, that was a good one. All right, so I'm going to go back and check these out. Close all these. So if anybody's out there wants to throw some feedback in, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just wrap it up here. But I'm going to go back and refresh. So it was at 14. Now it's up to 20. That's cool. So they are actively on a Friday afternoon for them, I'm guessing. It's 12 o'clock here, so I guess it's 3 p.m. on the East Coast. assuming that ATF is in DC or West Virginia still. Oh, there's Echo out there. Good evening or good afternoon from going out to Florida, I guess. The state looks like a gun. Is it the state that looks the most like a gun? Probably. So it's telling us that on a 3 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, remember they just barely set this up this morning. So they set this thing up to launch on a Friday. Often they do that as they're walking out the door, hoping that we're going to ignore it. And of course, the media is going to be able to sweep it under the rug. But it looks like they're actually spending some time putting these things up to it, right? Tim is saying it's good that people are starting to comment on this. Yep. Because I saw the post going out. People must be getting alerted. We have no idea how many are posted. We just know that 20 of them have been, well, I guess we don't know how many have been submitted. We know that 20 of them have been posted. So now what I'm going to do is sort by, look at that. I had it sorted by best match, which could be in a database, any crazy random assortment. So I'm going to sort it by oldest to newest. And now they should be in order. Oh, look at the ID right here. Duh. So ATF 20 and then 1. So now we got 6, 13, 16, 25, 40. That's interesting. So they're not listed. So they're not being posted in the order that they are being submitted in. So it looks like not all are being posted also. So is it open for comments now? I'm at work. Listen, if you insist on having a job, you're crazy. You don't even need a job anymore. But here, yeah, you can take this link and use it later or now or whenever. You can hand it to people. You can do whatever you want with that link. And when you click on that link, it's going to take you to where you can leave a comment. Yes, the comment period is now open. And there are at the moment only 20 comments that have been posted on the site. Anyways, we don't know how many have been submitted, but 20 of them have been posted to the site. So I'm going to go back now and I'm going to pay more attention. So now I'm definitely opening them in the order that they were posted on the website. So we should see the last 4 of these will be new than what we already went through and read. Although I had some, it was broken up before, so I don't know if any of those got garbled. I don't know if anybody's been watching the whole time or not, but I'm not going to go back and read them all. But I am going to open them all because I'm curious to see, I don't know, just to see we didn't miss any, because we know there's 4 that we didn't read yet. And then I'm just a little curious as to if there's any reason why they're, don't be scared. I'm going to open my screen more. I have an unusually wide monitor, so don't get scared. All right, so now I can see all those tabs at the top. So this should be the oldest one. Comment 1. Look at that. No. Yep, it is comment 1. Huh, what's that? No, that's just, this is the document 1. Interesting. So this is the first document, I guess, that they did over here on the new regulations.gov. You know what I like? That our tax dollars aren't building roads. They're building dumb websites that suck. All right, so next let's look at these things. So I believe this is, no, this isn't the first one. No, this is in no order whatsoever. So, okay, so when I read them before, I was in no order whatsoever. That sucks. So this looks like it is in the actual order. So what did I have it in? Oldest to newest. So this should be the first comment. This proposed ruling should not be passed. It seems that the BATFE, which was actually a pretty good one. So that's good. The first one was decent. Second one is this all whatever happened in enforcing current gun laws. That one was okay. I am completely against changing the definition of a frame. That was the third one. All right. And then the next one, ghost guns must be stopped. Oh, wait. Oh, here we go. So here's actually one that's anti. So now I'm glad that we did this. So then the first one was pro. If anybody out there wants to keep track, feel free. Second one was pro. In other words, pro rights, pro individual, pro like faith in each other. Let's see. Third one, pro. Fourth one Ghost guns ghost guns must be stopped as soon as possible. Once they get out, they cannot be traced. All other gun laws become meaningless if ghost guns are allowed. Well, it's true. So that's number 20. Interesting. So now we have one. And I don't know if we had any last time that were against the pistol braces. All right. This was the fifth one posted to the site. To the Bureau of ATF, people have been making their own weapons and ammunition since before the Revolutionary War. That was a pretty long paragraph. Then the sixth one is, isn't it the legislative branch's job to write laws? That was that short one. The next one is, and those are two are against, so this one's against. Next one is, I'm totally against this proposal since the beginning. There was a very similar one to that one. Let's see, then we get to this is tyranny, plain and simple. The ability to make firearms at home is set in law. We read that one. Interesting. What's up with that? There's no way I clicked on one of these things twice. They're messing with us. I'm being screwed with right now. I'm going to do this again just to double check. Y'all are watching, right? You can see the tabs opening. I think we're being screwed with. All right, so now all I'm doing is I'm refreshing this page and I'm sorting this from older to newer, right? So if anybody wants to follow along, this is the link that I'm clicking on. I flipped it to older than newer, and now I go right click, open a new tab, and that's where it opened. Right click, open a new tab, and it opened to the right there, right? Right click, open a new tab, still to the right. Right click, open a new tab, still to the right. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. It all adds up. They said there was 20. There was 20. I opened them. They all opened from left to right on the top there. I don't know of any way to fake this. And if I did, I wouldn't know how to actually do it anyway, because I don't have that kind of technology. So let's see. The first one is a paragraph. Second one is a paragraph. Third one's a paragraph. Fourth one's a paragraph that hates guns and individual freedom and rights and stuff. This fifth one, now the sixth one is, isn't it to judge blah, blah, to write laws? 1, 2, 3, isn't it the legislative branch's job to write laws? What's up with that? So that says ATF 21-1-9, 21-0-4. Huh. All right, well, so here's how it's going on. They're either scamming us, which a bunch of people are just going to hear that and they're going to go run and say we're being scammed, or they're just letting everything through and then they're going to have to go through and filter, or they're just sloppy, right? They're not scamming us, they're just sloppy and they're letting things go through with multiple posts. Or it's a weird glitch in a database, which I guess is technically possible. You would think that the government wouldn't screw around like that, but yeah, that's weird. So now how many of these others? I'm not good at Simon or whatever this would be called. But that one just was easy to remember because of the two contractions and the backwards back and forth with the possessions or whatever, however you say that sentence is. It's weird. All right. Anyway, so now I wasted a bunch of time verifying that something's glitchy with their situation here. Let's see. Next is I'm totally against this proposal. This is tyranny. Was that one of them? Oh, no, I am totally against this change in definition. I am totally against this proposal. Okay, two people can be totally against it. This is tyranny. Isn't this the gyre to drop? Are you kidding me? No, I'm mixed up. Okay, so this is the first one. That's the second one. No problem. So is It is absolutely astonishing that the ATF keeps thinking of new ways to violate the Constitution to further restrict laws of gun owners and act like felons and other criminals who buy stolen guns on the street will follow these laws. That was a good one. A little bit twisted, but it's a good one. Messing, that's a big long one. You do not get to regulate my defense. Fuck off, you redcoats. So, that's happening. Oh, look at this one. Wow, we did not see this one before. Whew. That's like 6 paragraphs long. That's a lot of stuff to read. I gotta roll up my sleeves to read that one. Then we have way more than what we read before. So the Second Amendment was written to attend to the right to bear arms has been interpreted countless times as nature is simple. No, we didn't read that one before. Please don't do this at all. It makes it harder for criminals who don't care about laws anyway. So that one was short to this point. So we read that suppressor one. This is unpatriotic, shall not be infringed. I thought that was the first one, should have been. We, the people, absolutely oppose the new definition of frames and receivers. Changing the definition. Okay, so now we can go back and read this giant one. I think this one, this one, this one, and this one are the new ones. That's what I think. If you don't agree with me, you can make your whole other video on your own and do it yourself. So next we're going to go to this one, which I believe would be number 17 posted. At least we're going to go ahead and just say that because no one's going to be able to challenge me at this point. So this one says, the Second Amendment was written with the intent to defend individuals' rights from a tyrannical government. The right to bear arms has been interpreted countless times, but its nature is simple. Citizens deserve the right to arm themselves in defense of what they consider to be freedom. Tyranny comes in many forms and can happen suddenly or over long periods of time. Longer phases of tyrannical evolution develop through legislation. One type of tyrannical legislation is that which limits the original intent of a constitutional right to bear whatever arms the individual deems necessary to defend oneself from tyranny. American citizens are already at a disadvantage. We can't own jets, tanks, flamethrowers, grenade launchers, landmines, explosives, or even many types of body armor. The American government is slowly dissolving any tool for resistance that exists, which is undermining the very freedoms on which this country was founded. The ATF's mere existence is unconstitutional. Stop lawyering freedoms allotted to us 245 years ago and focus on what's important, defending the country from psychological warfare being waged by those who have no stake in American success and who are funded by those who can easily take their stake and move away, or worse still, those agents who don't even live here. A lot of points in that one. Well written, but wow, I'm not trying to editorialize these, I don't think, but we'll go back and look at some comments here in a bit. So this one is, don't do this. Please don't do this. Okay. Please don't do this. All it does is make it harder for law-abiding citizens to work on their own guns, and criminals don't care about laws anyway. That's a short one. We already read it. I'm reading it. We read that one about suppressors. I'm going to read this one again because it's nice. This is unpatriotic, shall not be infringed. I think we all know who wrote that one. Let's see. Then we have, we the people absolutely oppose the new definition of frames and receivers. Only please spell it right, because I don't know what the hell oppose means. Isn't it? That better not mean in favor of. Let's go find out what it means anything. Oh crap, dude, that has an actual meaning. So watch your spelling. I mean, I'm not a spelling Nazi, but this means we absolutely put next to the definition of frame. So that has an actual meaning. So yeah, watch your spell checkers, people. Next up is one of the ones we haven't read yet, I think. Changing the definition of receiver to fit what you want it to because you're upset about the courts siding with constitutional rights of citizens is arbitrary and disgusting. The interpretation of these definitions by some courts relying on the current regulations would make it easier to obtain the majority of existing firearms, including some of the most advanced semi-automatic weapons, without complying with the requirements of the GCA. That is a good thing. No private citizen should have to jump through hoops to acquire their own personal arms. No personal citizen should be required to serialize or register a personally made firearm that they build themselves. Suppressors should not be regulated at all. They should be an over-the-counter purchase. The ATF should not exist as an organization. I will not comply with any of the arbitrary, unconstitutional changes proposed in this letter, and neither will millions of Americans. Check yourselves and retract this letter. A little bit different vibe, am I allowed to say vibe, to this set of letters so far than last time. So next up is, what if instead of making new definitions to weapons and gunsmiths in order to punish people who have tried to abide the already unconstitutional infringements, you enforce to attempt, okay, let me say it again. What if instead of making new definitions to weapons and gunsmiths in order to punish people who have tried to abide by the already unconstitutional infringements you enforce, you attempt to go after actual criminals who hurt people? Like every other attempt you made, this just punishes Americans for exercising their rights and does nothing to stop criminals whose weapons are almost always stolen weapons and not manufactured by private hobbyists. All right, so I'm going to close a bunch of these because we don't need to scrutinize everybody's letter, but this is part of, you know, the thing working, and this is an attempt to look at it and watch it happen. It's kind of neat to be around watching things happen. So it went from 13 when I first clicked on it. Then it was 14, and I'm like, hot damn, I better get my live chat going or I won't be able to exploit a bunch of money out of this situation. So I figured I'd go live, and then I refreshed it a couple of times at 14, and then read a bunch of them, read all 14 of them. Then we refreshed it and it went to 20, right? And then I read 4, farted around for a little while there, and now it's at 38. So that tells us that the ATF is at least have some sort of a bot set up to make it look like they're approving comments today, or maybe they are just approving comments today. Either way, we got lots of stuff to pay attention to and to participate in if you're interested. However, if you'd rather work for Bloomberg for free and just sit on the sidelines and watch everything burn as an observer, you have the freedom to do that in this country. Like I say, 38 more comments came in. I'm not necessarily looking to exploit this myself, so with that, we'll just look at the comments here and then we'll wrap it up. But thanks for showing up, and please share the concept to people. You don't have to share this video, this is worthless, but this idea that the ATF is deciding to redefine the definition of a gun, which is a receiver at this point. They want to redefine that, and they've come up with this very long thing that goes through it, and I'm guessing at least a couple of other people who are worth a darn have probably gone through this already. And once you've gone through this, you can see that I haven't gone through it, so I don't know. You're going to be able to make your own decision once you've gone through it. Then you can come over here and check out the comments that people have already made if you're interested or if you're curious. You can definitely leave your own comment. When you do, it's going to give you a way to track it, which is interesting. I guess that's an updated thing. We can thank our government for being bigger. And we have 90 days to do this. The way that the comment period works is the comments are read and entered into the record. So they're not just there for the representatives and the people who work for the executive branch of government, but for the record. So for whoever comes after us wants to read the record is going to be able to see the frame of mind or the mindset of the populace today that was interested in this particular potential change in regulation. So we have 90 days. So we can leave a comment. You can decide there's something else you wanted to say and leave a second comment. You can decide that you wanted to reword yours or re-emphasize something. You're allowed to do as many comments as you think are necessary to get your point across. There's a couple of different things I've seen. Where am I going to find one I saw? I saw a pretty good thing on the Instagram. And I just don't feel like going through Instagram to try to find it, but there are some good resources. Since there are people that take an active role in participation in these things, there's some good resources that offer some constructive ideas on how to word a comment or suggestions on strategy. For example, you could see from reading some of these that people that attempt to hit too many points of focus in one comment, it can be distracting. It can be difficult to follow. So since you are able to make more than one comment, a strategy might be to make 3 comments, 1 or 3 short comments directly to the point on 3 different subjects, rather than 1 medium length comment that tries to address 3 comments or 3 points, I guess. However, if 2 points need to be, compared or put together, then obviously don't take that advice. So anyway, there's lots of people out there that I've seen offer some decent advice on how to structure or how to strategize your participation in this. If you're a content creator, you're doing the country and yourself a disservice by not focusing on this. You don't have to say the sky's falling, but a lot of people haven't taken civics classes or haven't taken any kind of class in a school that lets you know how to participate in stuff like this. Since the things change, they may be under the assumption there's some other way to participate or that somebody else is going to do it. So if it's as a content creator, I think this is a great opportunity to jump in and participate in getting the word out about something like this. As an observer, as one of the people that just sits around watching other people do stuff, you are on the internet and you aren't just sitting there watching TV or listening to the radio and can't do anything except obey when they tell you to buy something. Instead, you can use the keyboards and the screens that you can touch on the phone, and you can use feedback mechanisms to challenge and to ask and to offer info to others out there, wherever they may be. So we can do nothing, or we can do something, and then we can watch what happens. And then this isn't the first time, so we can add this. We'll be adding this to our ever-growing archive of battles in this ongoing challenge against individual rights, which is really what it's all about, I think. So let's go to Tim, who's the first one in here. Thanks for showing up. There's the link again. If you want to click on it, that'll take you to the comment period for the redefinition of the frame or receiver by the ATF. Got some feedback there. Thanks for that. Thanks, Echo, for showing up from Florida. Echo does a lot of reloading over on his channel. Highly recommend if you're interested in reloading and you don't want to listen just sales pitches or just basically inexperienced people regurgitating. You can go listen to people who know what they're talking about. Just have a good time. Certainly there to answer your questions if you have them as well. It's good to see that people are commenting. I agree. Let's see. Roll call was asking about if it's open for comments, and it is. Let's see. Tim is saying, I know the FPC is sending out email alerts for this. Right on. We're going to be talking about the different organizations tonight. FPC is sending out alerts. I wonder what GOA, SAF, and the others are doing. Let's see. The old throw 100 at the wall and see how many stick routine. You're talking throw 100 comments. I don't know if 100's necessary, but if you've got the time and the 100 points to elaborate on, then yeah, do it. Keep up the good fight. That's going out to everybody out there. There's nothing really to fight watching this video, but appreciate the sentiment. What exactly are they trying to do? I tuned in late, and they're trying to change the description of the frame or a lower. So Echo's asking a question about the big deal, and I'm not going to sit here and try to do the whole thing. You can read it if you wanted to, but I'm sure that there's some places out there, some blog posts, some podcasts, some radio shows, or maybe even a YouTube video that describes it. I haven't gone in and done that. I haven't decided if I'm going to do that one for this one or not, just because I don't know if I got the time to do it or not. But we'll see how it goes. And but I suggest if somebody's listening and has a suggestion of somebody who's done a decent, efficient summary of the situation, then that would be cool. We'll link Echo to that. But yeah, in a nutshell, the ATF is doing a 90-day comment period. They are attempting to redefine what a receiver is, or what, how to identify a firearm. And that's going to cover more than one element of the firearms realm, right? It'll define 80%. It'll define ghost guns. So ghost guns are guns that are created by people. It's just a fictitious name that they're using to be scary and to be vague. But a ghost gun is most often used to describe a firearm that was created by an individual. And that could be something made out of a 3D printer. It could be something that you whittle out of wood. It could be something that you make out of plastic. It could be something that you carve out of metal. So an 80% would be a gun frame that is 80%, let's say, some percentage of the way just to finished. But until it meets the final, definition of a gun, they can sell it as just a thing. And when you finish it yourself, you create the gun yourself. And people have gotten themselves upset about that because people who are getting paid have suggested that that's an issue. And it's a distraction from the other things that they haven't been winning. And they haven't used ghost guns yet on a national level. So for lots of reasons, they figure this is a gimme. The definition change, however, will also affect AR-15s, and I'm guessing it'll affect pistols somehow too. And then we saw something about suppressors, so somehow they squeezed suppressors into this whole thing. We know that suppressors are just a muffler on the end of a gun, so a muffler is typically one piece all welded together. On a suppressor, since it's super expensive, at least a suppressor for a firearm, since it's super expensive, they often make those things come apart so you can clean them and repair them and things like that, do maintenance, unlike your muffler in a car, but technically they're almost exactly the same inside. So because they make suppressors come apart into pieces, and because the ATF is tyrannical and no one has stopped them with their infringements, they've made a requirement to put serial numbers, I think, on every piece of a suppressor, which, because you can imagine, is stupid when you start talking about washers and nuts and things like that. But yeah, that's in a nutshell. We're talking about an ATF massive overreach posted on a Friday afternoon in the middle of May, weeks after the big emotional plea on the anniversary of Kristallnacht. It was like the anniversary of some Nazi stormtrooper event when the Nazis rushed into someplace. That was when they made their first anti-gun rhetoric. And then now on a Friday afternoon, Friday, whatever morning, depending on where you live, they put out they finally turned on the comment period and initiated the 90-day clock, the 90-day countdown that'll be going. All right, well, I guess that was a super long, elaborated version of answering that question. I guess I didn't answer it very quickly. Let's see. Yes, they are trying to redefine the definition of frames and receivers. I guess that's a faster way to say it. Let's see. If this goes through, both the upper and lower of an AR series will have a serial number. That's probably all documented or detailed in this whole big long section I keep scrolling through. So if you click on that link, there's going to be two tabs close to the top. One of the tabs is called Document Details. That's what I was just scrolling through. The other tab says Browse Comments, and that has the comments that have been approved. So we don't know how many comments have been submitted, but so far, I'm going to refresh the page right now. It was 38, and it is now 74. So they're definitely coming through at a steady rate. Let's see, thumbs up, back to work for me. So this dude works at a bowling alley. He's willing to come out from getting slammed around, do it a thumb up. Somehow he does that without even having a thumb, and then he goes back to getting beat up. So I do appreciate that. Let's see, let's see how long it takes for mine to be approved. Interesting. So you did try one. I haven't put one in yet, but I heard that, or I saw on somebody on Jared's video that you get like a tracking. You get an ability to see when it's approved and then posted, right? Lex is saying I just did mine, copied and pasted some parts from other well-written comments. Oh, that's an interesting idea. Since they do post the comments and you can read through them, open up a notepad or something, or open up a document someplace and just copy and paste or drag and drop over to that document, set it all up the way you like it, change spelling, right? They don't follow through on a misspelling if somebody did one. And then that's a great way to do it. Let's see. This is just going to create a thriving black market for firearms. Really? The drug war didn't create a black market for drugs, so I don't know where you come up with that crazy idea. Definition of frame or receiver. I guess I just wrote that down for some reason. I've only glanced at it so far, and I definitely don't like the potential for where this will be taken. I really trust the government, and I don't think overreach is that big of a deal. So, if this goes through, it's not such a big deal, but just for shits and giggles, why don't we oppose it, right? Since it's just barely even a thing, why don't we just say go ahead and make it so that it's not a thing? But no, I agree with you. Who the hell knows what they would do with this? John says, just left my comment. Right on. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh. So now we just saw it go from 13 when I thought of doing this. When I came up with the whole idea of doing the live video, it was at 13. And then when I went live, it was at 14. And then I refreshed a little while ago, it was at like 30 something, 36 or 38 or something. And now I'm going to refresh from 74. It goes to 74. All right, well, so jerks at the ATF just made an ass out of me. But it has been going up, and we're going to click over here. I'm not going to read all the rest of them. I'm going to go from newest to oldest. That'll be the least or the newest one here. We'll just throw a couple more up here because I'm curious. This proposed ruling should not be passed. I already read that one. Is this all? Whatever happened when first I read that one too. I'm going to flip it the other way. Older to newer, which makes no sense to me. That means this should be the oldest one, right? This should not be. Oh, now you're messing with me, ATF. You're messing with me. I don't believe their little sorting thing even works. I'm going to go over here and click on this. Oh yeah, their sorting thing doesn't even work. They've been screwing with me this whole time. I just spent 50 minutes being screwed with by the ATF. I don't think that's ever happened before. Ugh, got a runaround by a government agency. Their website's screwy. Ugh. Anyway, we did read a bunch of them. That probably explains why there's some duplicates. Maybe they aren't trying to get us. Maybe they're just inept. But that's what happens when you have government bureaucracy with lots of unscrupulous people to hide behind the little hiding places in the bureaucracy. And you get paid way too much money to promote website or to keep websites running that don't run good. So we'll just deal with what we got. We'll let it go. Nobody's saying anything else. So with that, we'll end it. Do what you're going to do. I recommend you leave a comment or let people know who might leave a comment. Talk to you later.